guys. Welcome back to the Home Tour Podcast. I'm Payton, and I'm joined with
Tyler.
Awesome. We're going to have a great episode. This is episode 14, and we are going to be talking about the real deal, debunking real estate myths and misconceptions. So
Let's get it.
This one's going to be a
Let's
good one.
get
I can already
it. This
tell.
is going to be fun.
All right.
Yes.
Hit me with it.
Myth number 1. Dun, dun, dun. Selling your home FSBO, that's for sale by owner if you didn't know, will save you money.
Incorrect. Just no.
Let's go ahead and be real here. If you're going to do it for sale by owner, you're probably going to miss out at least 20 grand.
At least.
Let's be real here. No.
Yeah. I mean, it's impossible for people to be able to access all the information that we have access to as agents. But also, there's just so much that the average consumer isn't aware of, or things that we can do that might not cost you anything that could add potential value to your house that you just don't
anything.
You don't know, and then you miss out on changing the price of your home, and then you miss out on the profit. So,
the worst part about it is you're stuck with all the costs. Like, you think you're saving money, but no.
You're not.
Let's be real here. You're still going to have to figure out legal fees on your own. What's the contract? And how am I going to get a contract written up? Like, let's be real here. I attempted to buy a house last year, and it was like a verbal confirmation, and it was with family, and we were agreed on a price. I didn't write it down. I didn't have them sign anything. Kid you not, 2 weeks later when I said, hey, we need to make this thing formalized, they go, hey, we want $75,000 more. And so, that right there, no, don't do it. So I had to learn. I had to learn on my own. I was just trying to buy a house without an agent involved, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'll never do this crap ever again.
Yeah. So the easy answer is debunked. No.
Boom. So no. And then on top of that, I'm gonna be blunt. If you call me as a for sale by owner and you've got my information, you've seen some pictures or whatever, the cost of me coming out is 3 times as more than whenever an agent calls me out, because I'm your only source of marketing. And so no, it's going to take me extra time. You're not going to understand everything. You probably haven't cleaned as well. You don't know any staging stuff. I'm going to have to take more time, which is just more cost. And so just be freaking just call Payton.
Just call me.
We ain't got time for this.
Just freaking call me and then let us handle it.
Here we go. Myth number 2, baby.
Yep.
Buyers get a better deal if they don't use an agent.
Also, no. No. I mean, people want to act. Okay, people think buyer's agents are just, a glorified tour guide. Let's have that be myth number 3. No.
2A.
Yeah, there we go. No, because while that is part of the job description of showing you houses and doing all the fun things, that's the fun part. Exactly. The real work starts once the contract hits, and how much work goes into the negotiation side of it, the constant communication that you're in with lawyers, lenders, other vendor partners, inspectors, having to write amendments, having to track people down for signatures, having to track people down for reports, having to talk to people from, different, if there's a structural issue, or if there's, mold, or God forbid you have an issue in your basement with water intrusion, or any of those things that might come up on a inspection report. Then you have all these specialists that are having to get involved, and it's the buyer's agent's responsibility to facilitate all of those things. And then, just the fact that people think, oh, I can do it. I do it myself.
No. Google's great for some things, and YouTube's perfect, but this ain't for them. People.
This ain't that.
This ain't that. This ain't that.
That's okay.
Right. Here's another one too that I think that's really critical. If you're I'm listing my house with Payton. Okay. I'm listing it with the agent that I know here in town. Somebody from out of town with an out of town agent. That's constant communication between somebody that's local and somebody that's long distance. and
Mhm.
they don't know how to speak the same language sometimes, which means
No.
that that's conversations that they're having on the back end that you never are aware of.
Right.
And so, like, you had a case of this just here recently where you had a buyer's agent that didn't know jack about what they were really doing. And then you were
Mm-mm.
having to not only educate their clients, but you were having to educate them on what
Yeah.
they were missing. So,
Yeah.
like,
Just to be able to get us to the closing table, like the amount of work that's needed when you're working with people who don't know what they're doing. So,
mm,
I'll be the first to admit that agents are not created equal. So, if you have had a terrible experience with an agent before,
yep,
I am not telling you that you're lying and I am not discrediting you whatsoever because the trauma that you carry is
yep,
real and I get it.
it's real. Yep.
But we are all not created equal. And I promise you, there
Mm-mm.
are people out there who will do the right thing and who will,
Yes.
hold people accountable and have the hard discussions with all parties when needed and those types of scenarios so that at the end of the day, you are getting the best deal, you are getting the best
Yep.
negotiation, you are winning in all categories.
100%. Which
So,
is myth three. Myth three here on my list says that agents are interchangeable. Uh-uh.
yeah, I mean, if you're working with somebody who's credible and knows what they're doing, you're going to sign a brokerage agreement that is basically your contract of saying what you're agreeing to as either the seller or the buyer and
Mm-hmm.
what they are agreeing to as being the agent that's going to help you facilitate the sale or purchase of your home. So
Exactly.
everybody from the get-go has an agreement and we know what we're doing and there are, this is a legal binding
Yep.
document that has contract dates on it. We're not agent hopping around here.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, no.
And every agent has a different background. Yes, y'all all took the same test,
Mhm.
hopefully, to
Yeah. Yeah.
get in.
Yeah.
But like you have a specific background that agent B does not have, but they have
Right.
something a little different. And so that's why, like in the very beginning phases, like you should just call Payton, by the way. Like
No, sorry.
if you start and you're interviewing agents, don't really just you should ask them like what's your last transactions been like. But you
Mhm.
should also like get to know their past because if y'all don't jive,
Mhm.
then you got to find somebody else before you
Right.
start signing contracts with them. Because if it's like, hey, you're type A and I'm type oh no, like
Yeah.
you're not going to fit. So
Yeah,
like
if you're on two
you got to
different
be able to fit.
planets. Yeah, that's right. And ultimately if you're having a good agent that in an ideal and perfect world, buyers and or sellers who are vetting people to represent them should be
Mm-hmm.
doing that from the beginning. But also, part of that process is just as much as you as the buyer or seller vetting who you want to represent you, that is their
Bingo.
opportunity to also vet you. So, this is a 50-50 deal. Like you may
Yep.
feel like this is a great opportunity as far as being the buyer or the seller. The agent might be getting huge red flags from you and they
Yep.
may they may say, "You know what? I know
Yep.
another agent that I would love to connect you with." and
Exactly.
and honestly, if you ever hear that from someone, don't be offended. It's truthfully
Mm-mm.
that person knows what they're good at and what they're
Yep.
communicating with and how they work and function. And at the end of the day, they have noticed something that could potentially cause a problem for you to help this make a successful business transaction for you. So
Exactly.
take their advice if they want to step in and say, hey, I don't
Yep.
feel like I'm a good fit, but I think that this person would be a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a blessing, not a
And
curse.
I
So,
yeah, and I do the exact same thing. Like
mhm.
if I know if I'm contacted to come do, marketing material, if I know my personality is not going to jive well at all with that agent,
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Hey, I'm if you hear this, I'm so sorry." But if you hear, "Man, I'm booked out." Granted I am.
Most of the
But if
time
it's
you
like
really are, but yeah.
yeah, but if it's like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna
Mhm.
refer somebody else to come out, but
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
it's just how it is. Like
Yeah.
I have a very specific style that I like to shoot, but
Yep.
if you want more of like a magazine, and if you want like a super high end,
Yeah.
like I want to put this in front of 100 million people in a magazine, you're gonna want to call somebody from like Los Angeles and fly them over here to
Right.
do that. So
Right.
like you have to be able to know who you're working with, like know their
Mhm.
style, know their personalities.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. That rolls into myth number 5.
Okay.
all resources can do it all. Online resources, my bad. Online resources can do it all.
Okay, if you're just listening, I hope you could feel how bad I just rolled my eyes. Um, no, no,
No.
because I mean, we'll start off with the very basics. A lot of people just automatically go, let me pull up Zillow and see what my house is worth. Let me go check out that Zestimate.
Bingo. Let me
Um,
see that estimate.
no, no, that's not going to be cute for you and not going to end up
Nope.
well.
Or an
You know,
online mortgage calculator. Like, let's
don't.
throw that out there.
Just don't.
Nope.
Please do
Mm-mm.
not go on any of these things that advertise on the TV or if it's popped up on the side of your Facebook page as a,
No.
because Google is tracking the things that you're looking at online. It's like, oh, maybe you're interested. Well, here's Rocket Mortgage. No, run away. Run far away.
Far away.
Like so far away.
Unless
So
you're a Rocket Mortgage, we're always looking for
if you would
sponsorship.
like to sponsor us, then and you would be willing to bring me on as a consultant to help you change how you run your business, then
There we
yes, please
go.
come and sponsor
Bingo.
us.
Bingo.
But it's also just very like it's so misleading. There's so much conflicting information that's out in the
Yes.
online world.
No.
Um, so while it is a good information gatherer,
Mm-hmm.
it is not the end all be all. And there is a lot of information out there that can be very confusing because it's
Exactly.
conflicting, or maybe you pull up realtor.com and then you pull up another resource and then you pull up Zillow and you pull up Trulia and you pull up all these other things and all of
Yep.
them say something different. That's not helpful either. So
At all.
no.
It's just like whenever you go to the doctor and you're like, man, I was looking at my symptoms, and what's the first thing they're going to say?
Right.
Don't look at
Right.
WebMD.
Right.
Like, you're going to hear this everywhere. Like,
Mhm.
get like the internet's great for certain things. Like, look, we wouldn't be able to have this show if it wasn't for the internet.
Right.
But you need to be able to talk to a freaking expert.
Right.
Like, that's what their job is to do, is to know everything, the ins and outs. And if they don't know, then they're going to talk to somebody that's even more seasoned, or
Yeah.
like be like, hey, in the office, be like, hey, Stephanie, I hope you're listening to this, by the way, Stephanie, you know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
She's going
Yeah.
to be like,
Yeah.
hey, I got this quick question. Can you help out some ideas off? And she's going to be, absolutely. I got to help my
Yeah.
client. So like,
I
that's,
will say
we
that's
just
like
have
half the day of what goes on in my office. It's just people bouncing off
exactly,
questions,
exactly.
resources, help me brainstorm through this. Yeah,
100% of the time. So no, online resources are okay, but they're not the end all, people. They're
that's right.
not the end all. Okay,
That's
this
right.
is my favorite one because I hear
Okay,
this one a lot.
I'm ready.
I've bought or sold a home or two, so I'm going to be an expert the next time.
Mm,
Okay,
mm,
you've made a purchase once in your life. Maybe you've lived in that one for 10 years. You're
hmm
not an expert. Like, you know how to be a homeowner, you don't know how to sell a home. Like,
Correct.
you're not going to be an expert. No.
Correct. Yes. What you are an expert at is paying your mortgage on time and paying your utility bills on time, which allowed you to continue to be a homeowner.
You've
That's
been great at being an American citizen.
that's right. You win. Participation award. But
Here's
what
your
you
ribbon.
but yeah, the selling or buying
Mm-mm.
process, no.
Nope, absolutely not.
And that's also what makes it hard for agents too sometimes, especially those that you've seen who have been in this business for a really long time, is sometimes it becomes, because this is second nature to us. This is just we just
Exactly.
this is all we do. This is our job. Whatever you spend your 40 hours plus a week doing is what
Exactly.
is what we do. So like this is what we live and breathe, and going through this all the time can remove some of the like excitement of what
Yes.
it really is for the other people in the world, because everybody else in the world is experiencing this for the first time
Exactly.
or the second
Exactly.
or third, maybe even 5 times, y'all. Like, but let's be honest, like
Yep.
this isn't my fifth time. So like, this, if you're working with somebody who truly knows what they're doing, then this
Yep.
shouldn't have been their first or second or third rodeo.
Like,
So
we're still going to be excited with you. No, don't get us
absolutely.
wrong here. We're
Yeah.
still going to be super excited that you found either like
The
the
one.
temporary
Yep.
or the forever, whatever it is. Like, we are still going to be just like, I have done close to 3,000 shoots at this point in my career.
It's
I
crazy.
still get just as excited walking into house number 301 as I did the house number like 60. Like
Yeah.
it's still the
Well,
same level of
you
excitement.
still even, like, pay attention so that when agents go under contract or sell houses that you have
Yeah.
taken photos of, you're like, "Woohoo!" Like,
I
"That's
cheer
so
right along with
exciting!" Like,
them.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like yes, absolutely. Please don't
Like we still get
here.
it just as
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
we are
but
down for a party and being excited about all the things, but
like,
this is what we do.
that would be just like us walking into your job and going, "Hey, like I had a cut on my leg. I put some Neosporin on it. I'm a doctor
I'm a
now." Like
doctor now.
it's the exact same. It's the exact
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
no, it's
I
not.
sat
People,
in a meeting one time. I know how to run this business. I'm the president and CEO now.
in certain jobs, that's probably the case, though.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. You're probably right.
Okay, here's the next myth. This is my favorite one because I'll get asked this one 99.9% of the time I walk into a home. The sellers will ask me, like, what do you think my house is worth? And I always go, listen, I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
You got to talk to your agent. Here we
Yeah.
go. Myth number 7. Price your home high so you have room to negotiate.
No. No. Just no.
No, no,
There
because the
was
market will punch you in the face.
That's right. Like, was there a time and a place for that? Yes. The time and the place that we are currently in?
No,
Absolutely not.
he was in the past. People, that's not
That's right.
happening
That's not
anymore.
going. That was a once in a lifetime. Never gonna happen again.
And if you got your license during that time and you made $1 million, you probably will never see that much money ever again.
No. Mm-mm. Nope. You
Like,
should probably put yourself in therapy because let's
because
be
it's
honest.
you about to get real.
Right.
Yeah, you
It's
about to
about
get
to get
taken
real.
out.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
No, it's just no.
no. Because I'll even say this: whenever I bought my home, it was listed for X number. We literally counter offered by 10,000 and they
Mhm.
were like, "Hey, we'll meet in the middle." But
Mhm.
that was like 2015.
Mhm.
Like we don't do that anymore. Like
No.
now, there's people going, "Hey, you listed it for 350. Here's $400,000 because they're
Mhm.
trying to win a bidding war." But that doesn't happen every day. That's just
No.
not that's not every house can do that.
No. And honestly, at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
it's your agent's job to pull the numbers and tell you. Like, you could have an idea of numbers that you want, and I always love to have the conversation because if that's something that you're really passionate about, if numbers are your thing because maybe you're in accounting or whatever, that's just,
Exactly.
a hobby of yours. I always encourage my people, like, do your due diligence, do your own research, do your stuff, but at the end of the day, you're relying on the expertise of the person that you're bringing in to sell your home.
Bingo.
So if I show up and I bring a market analysis with me and I'm like, "Hey, I love that for you. I love that you did all that homework. And I really love that your neighbor down the
Nope.
street sold 12 months ago for
Yep.
$50,000 more.
Yep.
But today, this ain't that."
This ain't that.
So,
There's a meme that's my favorite where it's like my neighbor's house sold for $1 million and it's like a luxury house. And it's like
mhm,
I want to list mine for the same and it's like a piece
like
of
a
dirt.
shack.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's not how this works. Like,
Right.
no, it could be
Mhm,
the same street, but it's not the same kind of build. It's not the same. Like that's
mm-mm.
what the agent does. They're gonna go look for comps, so
Yep.
comparable pieces of like actual data to
Mhm.
go like these all line up to like your home. There's a little difference over here, so we have some wiggle room or whatever. But
Right.
like that's what their agents paid to do. Like
Right. And it's
that's
our
their
job
job.
to build these relationships with people like lenders and stuff that we have on the podcast to be able
Bingo.
to utilize these relationships to help get you through to the closing table to get you the best deal. Because what
Exactly.
happens when here's what I want to know, Fizbo man. When you decide that you want to sell your house and you list it for something crazy and somebody else who was like, I don't need a buyer's agent, I can do this myself, shows up and y'all are like,
Yep.
yep, that sounds cool, let me do that. But you want to borrow money because you don't have the
Yep.
cash. Guess who's going to show up and screw up the party for everybody? His name is Mr. Appraiser Man, and he's about to ruin your life because he's going to come in and pull
Yes.
all the numbers and all the things for all of the information that has to do with the house that
Everything.
you're wanting to buy, and they're going to crash your party and everybody's going to be real
Mhm.
upset. So
Bingo.
it's our job as the agents to facilitate that conversation, or if there's an appraisal issue during the contract negotiation stage
Mm-hmm.
that we can then provide information to them, because not all appraisers are created equal either, and
Mm-mm.
sometimes people don't pull the right information, and that can affect an appraisal number, and that can make it to be that either your house didn't appraise, or that it didn't come back for the amount of money that we wanted it to, or
Exactly.
any kind of scenario. But it's our job to then come back to them and say, hey, especially on conventional
Mm-hmm.
loans and stuff like that, where we have the ability to negotiate with them, is to provide
Exactly.
them with more information so that they can make a better decision. Because if they just did a desktop appraisal where they just pulled up information on the computer and never even went out and looked at your
Yep.
house, that can be negative.
Which
Maybe
they
they're not
do
familiar.
now.
They do.
They do that,
They
people.
do. Or the
So,
fact that like they may never even come around, or
mm-mm,
maybe they're not familiar with your area at all,
at
and how,
all.
you know, houses sell for way more money here than they do in, the
Exactly.
neighboring county. So
Yep.
there's a lot of things that are happening during this whole process that the average consumer and American
They
has
just don't know.
zero idea about. Just
Mm-mm.
like I don't know all the things you do in your day and your
Bingo.
job. So,
And some of us don't want to really know that.
right,
So like
right,
just work with the professionals that you trust. Like
right. Yeah, let us
so
do what we love to do. I'm gonna let you do what you love to do, and we're all gonna be happy, right?
bingo. And then
That's
I
exactly.
think too, just to reiterate. So if you are thinking you could do this on your own, remember too, you're going to have an appraiser. And sometimes if you don't have a home inspection, you don't know what you're about to walk into.
Mm-mm.
So a buddy of mine, I'm not going to drop his name, but he'll put some trash out there about
Yep.
homes that he may or may not have inspected. And
Mm-hmm.
so like sometimes you'll see this beautiful facade and then underneath your house about to fall
Yep.
down.
It's about
And
to
so
be
like
messed up. Yep.
that's what your buyer's agent, that's their job, is to know the people in the area that do the best to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that not just that you're getting a great deal, but that you're getting a safe home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so like you got to remember that too. Like this whole thing is trying to get you into a home so that way you have a place to live. Not be
Right.
like, oh, this is rental property 942 for my
Yep.
portfolio. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's yes, there's people like that. And God bless you. Stop though. Let people have a
That's right.
house,
Let
not a
people live.
rental.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But but I'll photograph them though. So don't call me for that. Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Here we go. Myth
okay.
number 9. I like this one because yes, it's a myth, but I still like it though. Okay.
Okay.
If you renovate your home before selling, you'll get a dollar for dollar return on your investment. It
And
depends on what you put in
yeah,
there though.
right. That is very
So
much dependent on what did you do?
exactly. Exactly. But if I go to the Dollar Tree and get some vinyl to put up on my wall that looks like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna get Subway tile
Mm-mm.
pricing for Dollar
Mm-mm.
Tree stickers.
Yeah, just like,
It's not happening.
painting counters is not giving you the
I
best
did
ROI versus replacing them.
I did
You know.
one the other day that had painter countertops where they try to do
Mhm.
the marbling effect,
Mhm.
and I told them I was like, "This looks like crap in pictures, people. These
Yeah.
look terrible."
Yep.
I was like, "This is real
Because you can
bad."
see every little, but you
Mm,
do you, boo. But yes, it is very much dependent on
so bad.
what are we talking about? Like what did you
Exactly.
do? Because there are some amazing options that you could choose. You could redo, kitchens and bathrooms, and maybe you got a killer deal because you got a bunch
Exactly.
of stuff on sale at clearance or something at Floor and Decor. Also,
Yep.
hi, if you would like to sponsor us.
Exact.
But
We got it. We got one in our backyard. People, floor
that's right.
decor. Hook
That's right.
us up.
Right. I could spend all day there. But, maybe you got a really, really killer deal on something, that you use to renovate your home.
Yes.
And so the ROI there might be much higher because it added
Exactly.
way more value to your house than you actually spent. But
Yes.
if we're talking about cutting corners and, half-assed and shit, then mm,
Mm-mm.
mm,
Nope. Nope. But like, okay, here's one. I just did a luxury property last week.
mhm.
The story's kind of crazy, so I won't go into too much detail. They put in a backyard kitchen and a
Ooh,
deck
yes. I saw the
that
pictures.
everything was about $75,000 that he had paid.
Damn.
Brand new. You better be damn sure he's about to get his investment back on that
On
because
every
it
penny.
was perfect.
Right.
But
Yes.
if my uncle comes and does it with some stuff that he found in the dumpster, you
Yeah.
ain't getting that back, people. You're
That's
not
not the
getting that
same.
back.
That's
That's
not the
not the
same.
same. That's not the same.
Again,
This
this ain't that.
this ain't that. This is not that.
Yep.
So, okay,
Mhm.
here we go. My last myth for the
Okay.
episode.
Hit me.
Agents just want to make a sale. Oh shit! Payton said, "Hell yeah, I do."
Look. All agents are not created equal. Have we talked about this already? I'm not going to say that's a myth because there be some people out in these streets who run their business that way.
But we also know some agents that will
Yeah,
sell a house and never talk to that person again
that is correct.
because
That is
our
correct.
our industry is built on one word: relationships.
Mhm.
That's how you build a
Mhm.
business.
Yep.
Otherwise, you are going from deal to deal to deal.
Yeah, that you're constantly searching and tirelessly, you know, making connections with people that feel very ingenuine, and people have gotten to the point where they recognize that immediately, and it makes it
Yes,
exhausting on for all parties. I
100%.
can't stand it when people reach
Nope,
out to me to try to sell stuff, and I'm like,
nope.
like I've literally listened to you say 4 words and I feel like I need a nap now. Like I can't
Or
handle
a
it.
shower.
Right. Or both. Like I
At
just
at the same time, sometimes.
right. So like I'm not going to say it's a myth, but I'm
But
going
it
to
just
say
depends on where your heart's at in it.
right,
So,
because I mean, look, this is a job. We got to do our
mhm,
job to put food on the table and provide for our families and pay our bills,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
But at the end of the day, if this is simply transactional for somebody,
Mhm.
it's it's not. That's not what the people, that's not who we want to work with.
Nope,
First of all, that's not the people
nope,
that like we want enjoying our podcast
nope.
to work with. You know,
Absolutely not.
we all want people to win and we want people to have a good relationship with all the people who are involved in the
Mhm.
transaction and it not just be a one and done thing ever.
And let's be real, if you are that kinda agent, I can only imagine the amount of money that you are spending in lead generation.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
another thing that not a lot of people realize. Can
Mhm.
you talk a little this is off the myth side of things, but can you talk a little bit about what lead generation looks like for somebody that buys leads?
Yeah. So this is a huge recruiting tactic for a lot of big brokerages.
Mhm.
They are trying to get people to come and, be a part of their brokerage, or maybe even smaller brokerages that just started off and they're like, I'm just going to go buy a ton of Zillow leads and disperse that information out to the agents that work for us.
Mhm.
And then what we are trained or encouraged to do is spend our mornings,
Cold
whatever
calls.
your source of lead generation is, right? So
Yep.
calling, texting, email, social media, whatever it
Mm.
is, right? But when you're paying for leads, you're literally starting at the bottom of the barrel every single time you make a
Yep.
connection with someone. So you have no relationship with these people. It's what equates to opening up the phone book and choosing a random person on the page
Exactly.
and being like, let
Exactly.
me let me call this person and see what's
Yep.
up. Like, and in today's standards, and this is my opinion, but like in today's
Mhm.
standards, 9 times out of 10 people are screening their calls anyway and they're not going to answer if they don't know who you are. Then you can leave 5,000 messages and then they're going to be
Yep.
like, block, because that's creepy.
Mhm.
And if you're texting them all the time, they're going to be like, stop texting
Oh my
me,
gosh, yes.
unsubscribe. How do I
Yep.
get off of this? And
Or the
then also you're
mailers.
yes, or you're having to deal with like, you know, people put themselves on the do not call list. I get agents and companies all the time that don't care about that at all. That's a
Nope.
lawsuit. Like there's a whole world of craziness out here that a lot of people have no idea what goes into lead generation for
Mhm.
agents. But when you're talking about paying for leads, a lot of times it's done by zip code. So, depending on the zip code that you're wanting to work in, if that's
Mhm.
a higher priced zip code or, not really a
Yep.
rural area, it's going to cost you a lot of money,
Yeah.
thousands of dollars to get information, which is
Yep.
all that literally they're just handing you a spreadsheet of information. This is this person's name,
Ooh.
contact information, and hopefully it's correct.
And 9
Nobody's
times out of 10, it's gonna be awkward the first couple of
Oh,
calls.
absolutely. Like, and there's some people that absolutely kill it at this because they're the
Mhm.
kind of people that could wake up every day and talk to a wall, and that wall will be their best friend, and I commend you because that is not me.
Yes.
I can't. But
Mm-mm.
they love that. They love every
Yeah.
day, like, meeting new people and challenging
Mhm.
people and doing all that, and I have the utmost respect for people that way. I just don't have the
Exactly.
energy for that.
Mm.
So my energy has to be protected or I can't function. So,
Exactly.
I would much rather
100% on
spend,
that one.
spend my time building the relationships
Mhm.
with the people that I have some type of history or relationship with versus
Yes.
constantly just having to restart with every single person. So,
100%.
yeah.
100%. And
And when
I've
I'm having to do it that way, I'm also not having to pay for anything because I'm building a relationship and most of
that's
the time
where
that's free.
that's where I was about to hit. I have recently met an agent in the area. Bigger team,
Mhm.
okay, up on the north side of Atlanta,
Mhm.
who last year spent 100 grand in lead generation.
I
A
believe it.
100 grand in lead generation.
Yep.
Like, we're not talking like nickels and dimes, people. Like, people
Mm-mm.
are spending like car payments
Mhm.
every month
Every month.
on like,
It's insane. And for me, that's not I don't like I'm not in shock hearing you say
mm,
that, but I hope that
no,
the rest of you are because
yeah,
that's what people are doing in a lot of cases. And so then when when other agents or other brokerages ask me to come in and offices to teach
mm-hmm,
classes on social media marketing, and I get the question constantly, like, are you, do you pay for ads, do you pay for leads, do you pay for this, do you pay for that? No, I don't, because I spend my time building relationships with people,
mm-hmm,
and that turns into, then I can rely on the people that I've built relationships with to do my marketing for me to help me reach
bingo,
their people. Or
yes,
I'll spend money on hosting an event, which we're
mm-hmm,
talking about micro amounts of money in comparison to what people are spending in these hundreds of thousands of dollars for
yes,
leads. So, and again, then I can build more relationships with people and learn about more people in the community, invite
mm-hmm,
people. There's so much more opportunity, but it's different. It's out of the box. It's not what a lot of
yeah,
people are comfortable with doing. If you have the funds, cool. Then maybe
mm-hmm,
here's my credit card for $100,000 and let me stay on the phone for the rest of my life. Sounds like a great business plan for someone, but not for me.
mm. Nope. And let's be honest too, like whenever you do something more localized, like what you're talking about with a local event, you're pulling in local businesses as well.
Right.
So, you just hosted one last year where we had, I think there was what, 15 local businesses inside. I'm not going to
Yeah.
put the big business that we were all inside of, but like
Yeah.
there was a bunch of local businesses that came in. And that's a networking event for the local businesses to talk to each other,
Yep.
people coming in, getting to know those local businesses, and those dollars stay in that community.
Right.
And so, like, at the end of the day, it's a win 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 for
Hmm.
everybody involved, even if
Hmm.
not a single dollar is like changed that night.
Right.
It's just a community building event, which is great for the local community. So,
Yeah. Because ultimately, the success of your business, I mean, this is business advice regardless, as far as I'm concerned, but it's a it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Like,
oh gosh,
you can
yes,
spend quick money to get a quick deal,
yes,
but is that going to help you get to where you need to go? Like,
no,
most of the time, the answer is no. So,
no,
yeah.
no, 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 no. Well, that's all that I got in terms of myths, because that's a
Those
top
are some
10 that's
pretty good
pretty
ones.
stout. So I
Yep, that's
mean,
pretty good.
there's a couple on there like we could teeter totter whether or not it's a myth or bust or not, but like for the most part, people get to know an agent, find one that you vibe with, and get like know them until one of y'all is in the grave. Like just be
Yes.
real. Like that's where you
Yes.
got to be in terms of like where you're living, and eventually this can become generational wealth building for your family if you do it
Right.
correctly.
Yep.
So.
Hitting it hard. Correct.
Booyah!
But, yeah. So that wraps it up for episode 14. So make sure and join in on the conversation because we would love to hear what you think about the myths and whether or not we answered the way you thought that we would and what you would like to hear more of. We always love hearing from you guys. So make sure and follow us on all of our social media channels at the Home Tour Podcast and visit us on our website at thehometourpodcast.com and subscribe to us on YouTube because that's fun.
Yes.
And next
You
week
get to see this crazy mug.
That's right. Next week, we'll be back with episode 15, talking about creating your sanctuary. And we're going to be talking about some of those small businesses and local businesses that you can partner up with and send your money to that aren't huge national businesses. Yep. See ya.
Cool. Peace out.